biggest thing I tell y'all to do with any of them is make sure your knives, your trimmers, whatever, are sharpened. You don't want to come out here and try to hack it with a dull one. These are more box shaped than horses or anything else. You don't want them tapering down in any way. I'll let her get done. I'm gonna trim and tell you as I'm going through it. Less is more. If you're doing it for the first time and you're nervous, less is more. Chances of them bleeding is gonna be more from their toe than their heel. There's more meat back here to cut from than there is their toe. You want this all flat. You don't want no crevices. The point in trimming is to make sure that they can't pack nothing in there. So it's all fresh, new growth.
How often should you do their feet?
Goats, typically, if you ain't got nothing in there to help trim their hooves back, every 6 weeks at least. If you can put some cinder blocks in there, shingles. They got the bid liner for truck bids in a spray paint bottle. That's great. You can hit their house with it, whatever they're going to jump on to help file their hooves down. Then you can go 2 months, a little bit longer than that. If you don't choose to do that, then you can't. I know y'all see people on there that show you this whole hoof filed all the way down. You're not filing the whole hoof all the way down. You want to make sure it's a flat surface. If she does have a dip in it, you're going to correct that over time. You don't want to come through here and just take off the whole thing. She's going to walk real sensitive. She ain't going to like it. It's uncomfortable. So if you don't trim this middle part right here, but you trim her heel and her toe, that's fine. As long as you put your clippers on there and there's a flat line. That's what you want to go for. You shape her heel up, you shape her toe up to where it looks like a teardrop.
Can you cut too much of that?
Her heel?
Yeah.
You can, but it'll grow back. It's thicker. She's not going to bleed as much from here as likely from her heel as she will her toe.
Okay.
Her toe, she'll bleed. And if you go small, she bleeds. It's just like your children. You're chewing their nails off, whatever. It's going to bleed just a little bit. As long as you ain't just sitting here and you just haul off and just hack a great big portion out, you're going to be fine.
Okay.
Bleeding's okay. A lot of people don't like me laying on their goats, but
is that the easiest way to do it?
It is. She has free range of her neck, of her head.
Should you do anything to stop the bleeding if it starts?
If it's just bleeding a little bit, no, don't worry about it. But if it's bleeding excessively and you're worried about it, yeah, put some blood clot on it or press down on it, whatever you can do to stop it. But if it's just a little bit, no, don't worry about it. But she'll be fine.
It's kind of like a dog's nail, like if you
yes.
clip it quick.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you use that stuff if you
yeah,
flip
absolutely.
it? Or flour or baking soda?
Absolutely. Anything that's going to clot it up. Whatever you have on hand. I mean, there have been a lot of times that we've had something going on the farm and we just had to make do what we had. I had to pull a goat out with Crisco one time. So it's like, whatever you got, make use of it. If you come in here and she has fungus in here, normally it's white and flaky, just trim it off. The best thing for that's exposure to the air. You don't want it being damp and wet. This white line should come all the way back here. Right here where this...
That's goat wrangling there.
Right here where this, about halfway on this side, inside of her hoof, should be a white line, and the white line come all the way back to her heel. That's what you want to trim to.
Mine I have Nigerians and they get this flap where it has grown and it comes up and it's
once it starts rolling over, you want to trim it then, because that's when it's building that moisture up, that bacteria in there. It can't get the feces, anything that steps on it can't get that out. So that's when you want to trim it.
Okay.
He's trimmed these, or she's worn them down quite a bit. You see how this one's rolling her heel over this way?
Yeah.
All your goats are not going to wear their heels the same way or their hooves the same way. They're going to wear them down differently. So you ain't going to be able to come through and be like, oh, look, I don't need a trim because Sally, her hooves look great. Sally's might look great, but everybody else's don't. Shape her heel up when you're trimming it, and then it'll fold back over and it'll look right. Again, you want this to be a teardrop. You don't want to clip the toe off like I just did, but if there is a pocket that they got in there, then clip it off. If you have pea gravel, that's a bad thing to have for them. I know a lot of people think that it's good and it fouls their hooves down, but it gets in between their white wall and their hoof and it separates it. And that causes more for bacteria to grow in there. The whole point is to dig all this, or your trimming hooves right there. I don't know if y'all can see it, but this flaky stuff right here,
Wait a minute, look.
Oh yeah.
that's thrush is what I'm claiming to call it. You're just trimming that out, huh? It's a bacteria that grows up in there from the moisture and everything else. It's actually the sole rotting, and which is normal. You don't need to treat it with anything. If it's too bad and you're worried about it, bleach water is the best thing to use for them. You don't need to go and buy whatever over at Tractor Supply. 50-50 bleach water. Clean it out and you're good. I had a client's hooves rotted all the way up to here. And we cleaned it with bleach water, threw some Blue Knot on it, and it healed right up on its own.
So you just spray it on spray bottle, you said?
Yeah, so you could soak it in it. I soaked it in and scrubbed it with a brush. And their pain tolerance, all animals' pain tolerance is a lot higher than ours.
You're not going to notice until it's too late, almost.
If you see your goat eating on its knees, that's a sign that something's wrong with its feet. And at that point, you're at a bad stage because then he's going to stop eating. He's going to give up on eating. He's hurting too much for one reason or another. So if you see it, that's when you want to worry.
Can you see holding Bobo down? I said, can you see holding Bobo down? He do it.
This is the basic way to do it. If they're standing up, they got more range of motion and they're stronger than what they look.
Yeah.
And they'll take off from you.
We usually put them on a milking stand.
That's what.
But even with the milking stand, I don't like the milking stand because he's got 3 legs up and he's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I got you with these 3 legs.
Well, you're usually good on the outside, but on the inside, you really have a struggle.
You want, again, I don't know if y'all seen it, but when I trimmed this outside and this inside, the sole was up a little bit. So you just want to take your clippers and just trim that sole even. Like I said, you want an even line from here to there.
Y'all feel free to get closer if you want to see them real close up.
You want a box shape. Again, you don't want the heel, the toe to come all the way out like that. That's not how goats are meant. You want a box shape. All hoof animals carry their weight on the outside. So if you do end up having hoof separation, she don't. But if you did have hoof separation, you want to trim that whole separation out. Keep it from growing any kind of bacteria. Keep it from separating any further. Trim it all the way up with your clippers and all the way down. Over time, it'll fuse itself back together and you won't have to worry about it. You don't need to treat it. You don't need to put chemicals on it. They're dew claws. You gotta be careful with these because they're the easiest thing to bleed. I only trim them if they seem like they're gonna cause discomfort or if they get real hard. You can see how this one's more of a, y'all can't feel it, but it's gray in color. Now you can get to the pink right there. And then, like I said, I only trim, normally they flake off. But these are quick. These are something that if I was starting out on my own, I wouldn't mess with heavily. I'd just trim just maybe the tit off of it and go about its way.
Now, when you do their hooves, like a horse, do you want to keep them all the same length?
Okay. It's a lot smaller animal, so it's not quite the same thing as a horse, but what you want to do is you want to keep these toes aligned. You don't want the toes crossing. These two should meet up and lay just like that. Should come together and just rest just like that, just comfortably. Ideally, yeah, you want this inside toe to be the same as the outside toe.
Now, what about like that foot to that foot?
No.
That
And the same thing with the horse. I'll tell y'all when we get over there. The goats are not, smaller animals are not as bad as bigger animals. That's a lot more weight that they're stripping on their hooves. But you're wanting a flat area. She's gonna wear her hooves however she's gonna wear her hooves. All your goats are. You don't want this to be inside, outside to be quite a bit bigger than the other one. If it is, trim it away. Again, trim the heel away if it's too big. And you can sit here and hack at the heel and she's not gonna bleed. Hack at the toe and she's gonna bleed. I didn't take nothing from here to here. She didn't need it. It's flat. It's not indented. She ain't gonna collect no bacteria. No nothing. Anybody got questions before I let her up?
If it's indented, that's where you said you trim back to where it's...
You trim it back as much as you can.
Okay.
Her toe is gonna bleed. If she's indented and you try to level it out, her toe is gonna bleed.
Okay.
So you want to just trim as much as you can. The more you trim, the more comfortable you're gonna be with it. And be like, you know what, I'm getting too close. You're probably gonna hit her toe the first time.
Okay.
Her heel, you can take a lot more off her heel, but you want to maintain that box shape.
Okay.
You don't want a long toe tamper shape.
All right.
The biggest thing with hogs, especially guineas and coons, like if you have feeder hogs, you don't trim their hooves near as often. They're out taking care of it more than they're not. This back claw, you see how she's bleeding a little bit? That's okay. This back claw should come right to the base of this one. If it don't, it's gonna grow out and start to grow in here, and you don't want that. Pig hooves are a lot like sheep's. They have that soft sole that you're not gonna mess with. What you are gonna trim primarily is this right here. You're just gonna take the tip off of it. These should, again, lay just like that, naturally. You don't want them crisscrossing. That's gonna make her unbalanced and uncomfortable to walk. So if you have to trim that, that's what you're trimming for. Outside that, hers don't look bad at all. You're just gonna trim the sides off and keep them flat. Again, you're trimming to keep anything getting packed in and keep her from causing any discomfort.
With some kind of concrete for them to walk on?
Yeah, anything that's gonna foul it down is great. Some situations you ain't gonna be able to have it. But yes, anything for them to foul down is great. They make grinders for this. I personally don't like the grinders. If you do use a grinder on a goat or a hog, make sure you give their hoof a break, because it's gonna heat up, it's gonna burn them, it's gonna be discomfort. And that way, that once you hurt an animal trimming their hooves, it's done. You're going to have to regain that trust, and it's hard. That's what, when we get over to the horse and pony, I'm going to show you enough to be dangerous. But the point of that is so you know what to look for.
So we rescued some mini potbelly pigs, and they have really long claws.
The longer they get, the harder they get too.
And they said, oh, just take a grind, pull them up and take a grinder to them. Well, you can't even get these pigs. They won't even let you come near them. But they're starting to wear off a little now. But they need to be trimmed. But there's no quick.
There is. The longer their nails get, the longer that quick gets.
That's what we were afraid of.
And you have to slowly trim that quick back.
Okay.
So you're not going to be able to come out here and get their hooves looking like this the first time. Their hooves still might be that long.
As long
Yeah.
as I mean, they're long.
Yeah.
So when they're not walking like they should, like on high heels, they're walking like this.
And they're clanking.
Maybe. They just their hoof isn't high anymore. It's
Right.
more lean.
But
it'll take 5 people to get these pigs to flip
or
them.
or a case of beer.
Yeah,
Give them a
okay.
case of beer and they'll roll right over.
Y'all, you ain't lying.
No, yeah.
You ain't
no.
lying.
Like I had a castrated 200-pound hog, and that's what we did. We gave it a case of beer.
You gave the pig the beer.
Yeah.
The beer's not. No. Hey, make sure the beer is for the pig. You're gonna have a different problem.
That's how you get friends to come help you.
Yeah, right.
The biggest thing is getting them some kind of just trimming it back as much as you can, as often as you can. If I have a client that has overgrown hooves, it's a monthly thing at that point.
Right.
Every month, trim it back till you get to a point to where you can condition them to have what you want, what you're looking for.
Okay.
Don't let it roll. Don't embarrass me. Yeah.
Mullet power, boy. You know what? I'll do you like that.
And don't put your knee in that poop there.
Yeah, don't.
You gotta ride home with your dad
Yeah, you do.
and your mom.
She said, yeah, you do.
Not with me.
You can tell by the color of that poop, she's been eating a whole lot of pumpkins.
Yeah. She loves
If you could, her nails are real good. I mean, they could be trimmed. She's not somebody that you're really learning a lot from. Because this will grow just like a goat's nail will. And it'll grow down and it'll start packing stuff in it. And that's what you want to avoid. Like if I don't have a lot to dig out, then it's really not time for, I wouldn't pay somebody to come trim my goat's hooves. That's what I'm getting at. Or pig's hooves, yeah. But if she ain't packing nothing in it, don't worry about it. Get her another couple weeks or whatever. I'm sure you got other chores that need done.
I wonder if the one that he has over there that was rescued too, if its nails are long.
Pigs are pretty good. Maybe a year, twice a year, depending on how they grow, but you don't trim pigs' hooves as often as you do other animals.
So if I bought a meat pig to raise and say,
I don't trim my meat pigs' hooves.
You don't.
I
Okay,
breed
that's what I
them.
was gonna ask.
You're not gonna have them long enough. No, even the
Yeah,
ones
they're
I
like, what,
breed.
8 months old when-
But let me say it too. My hogs range, so they're using their hooves to forage for food, to grub, to find food, whatever. Just so they're using their nose and whatever. They're fine taking care of their hooves down. If I did come across something that you like, you know what, it's time to trim her hooves, you got to go. That's too much work. But your feeder hogs, you don't trim unless you have preference. Everybody, I know people get attached to them and they're their babies and everything else, but they're another mouth to feed. So, and ideally, you're either homesteading to make money or to come out even. The more you got to do for them, the less you're doing that.
Chase, how old is she?
She's just over a year.
Yeah.
And she's
That's
never
all
been.
the bigger they get?
No, she's gonna
No.
double in size
she'll
when
be
she's
about
full
2
grown.
300 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she's full grown, she'll be double that size. But I brought her because she had never had her hooves trimmed, so I wanted him to be able to show y'all, but also to show y'all how slow their hooves grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't grow the same.
Yeah.
She's over 14 months.
You
So this
don't
is the first time she's been trimmed.
Right? Yeah.
you don't touch the sow. If you have sheep's the same way. You don't touch your sow. It's real soft, spongy. They don't walk on that, or they don't hold weight on that. Don't touch their sows. And that's it. Anybody got questions?
So like
sheep
on,
doing sheep's the same as doing the pigs.
Is the pigs and it's like in between pigs and a goat. Sheep will grow a lot faster and they'll grow under. Sheep are probably 3 to 4 months trimming them. But as far as the sow, yeah, they have the sow like a hog does, and then they have the hooves, the front tip of their hoof like a goat. You're not going to see a white line on them as often. I mean, you might, but you're not going to see a white line. And your biggest thing is keeping it flat, making sure there's nothing to build up in there. Somebody else?
on the back nails, the back hooks, the back nail thing you cut shorter, and those ones look like they're kind of going out to the side more.
That's because she holds her toe. When you hold them up
Okay.
like that, you want them coming to this hairline where the
Okay.
hair starts growing. It's ideally where you want it.
Okay.
Now, if they're so long, you can't trim back. Like I know her quick starts right there.
Okay. So you can't really.
But
go.
if you ain't familiar with it, you might be like, oh my God, I gotta take that. Don't take that off.
Okay.
Bag you start on, or whatever front or back you start on. If I'm starting on the back left, I don't have to do the front today, this week, in a couple weeks, whatever. I do have to do the back other side. That's to keep them walking the same, they're wearing them out the same, they're not uncomfortable. I say that because a lot of times they're irritated, and when you start, they're like, you know what, I'm done. It's a bigger animal to wrestle than the goat, so you're at their mercy. First thing you want to do is dig out and see what you're working with.
Each farrier trims their hooves different. They got their own little fingerprint, for her to say. That's right upon.
Tom said, "Hey, go and get that.
Huh? I ain't finna throw this donkey down.
Hey, if y'all don't know a whole lot about horses, I want you to notice how he came at that horse. 45s, always come at 45s, y'all.
I can't tell you how many times I go to a farm and they'll be like, yeah, my horse stands, it's great. Come trim their hooves, and you get there and you can't do nothing with it. And that's just part of it. And they might stand one day, they ain't gonna stand the next, and so you're at their mercy.
How about their head?
What about? And once I get this cleaned out, I'll begin. The biggest thing that I see and that I want to stress on, you want a frog. And if you don't know what that is, the frog is this piece right here. And it's normally shaped like a triangle. It is important that you have that, and that's what you maintain. I come in from behind a lot of farriers, and they just hack it off. And you don't want to hack it off. That kind of cushions every step that they take. I don't know. You smell that?
Smells lovely.
Smells great.
Yeah. It
You
woke
smell it,
me right on up.
It's the older. It's the funk, the rot. There is an odor. It smells horrible. That they have. You don't want a cup or a bow. You don't want to trim all this out to where it's a bow. They don't hold their weight on their inside of their hooves. They hold it on the heel or on the outside. Yeah. The worst part is once you trim a hoof, you got to trim the other side. Heifer. All right. You want to trim the old growth off the frog. And you want to shape it up to where it looks healthy again. Or I'll just walk out through it. Since he ain't cooperating. So, when you're trimming their hooves or you're looking at your horse's hooves and you're doing it yourself for general maintenance purposes, trim it out, get some fresh meat in there. You want this to be hard to the touch, not soft. You want this frog right here to be completely new for the most part and shaped up. I'm just filling him out, see if he's gonna let me do any of this. You see how much his hoofs have grown? About a quarter of an inch. They've grown more than that, but that's how far away they pulled away. So
I'm hung up on.
There's this. Lean on them. So you feel that resistance, and they'll lean on you too. Ideally, just for safe measures, keep their heel at about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch, and their hooves taper. You want to taper into the toe. She's going. He's gone. Same thing, if you see that flaky stuff on here, after you scrape it away, that's thrush. More times than not, just getting it exposed to the air is the best. You see how he's rolling his frog over? This is gonna stink too, y'all.
Oh, a big one? You're gonna suck.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all listen to what she says. If you give pigs beer, you can give, I give my horses THC or gummies, and they're done. Put it with their grain.
No, horses I heard of a wife say you can put duct tape on their nose.
Duct tape on their nose? I've never heard of it. But
I don't know how well it works. I've never seen it actually in person.
Right.
But it's just
Okay. This is bruising. I'll show y'all that. Then we'll talk around. Just in case y'all are looking at it. This is bruising right here. It's not blood. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. If everyone wants to look at that. And that's from where her hooves have been either long or she's been favoring it to one side and putting a lot of pressure right there. Just like if you get a blood blister on your finger or hand or something. Trim all this extra heel back here off. You want all this funk out, all this rotted black, you want it out, and that's normal. You're gonna have it on every horse, every pony you have. See how long her heel actually is once you get it all cleaned out? Hold on one second. Another thing you want to do is you want to look down at their hoof, and it should be symmetrical. I don't know if somebody's asking about the goats. This side should be the same length as this side all the way around. So her heel is about a 1/2 inch, almost an inch long.
You're not gonna be able to trim all that down without going too deep into the toe. Normally you're gonna stop at the toe. Work your way on both sides. But because I want to focus on her heel, getting her heel at a comfortable stance to where her ankles, she's standing on her ankle properly, I'm going to start this heel. You got to make sure you hold your clippers flat. In Maddie's car? Stay still, sis. Y'all can't see, but I got the heel. The best thing when you're using this, you're using this to make sure his hoof's flat. So if you put it on there and you see there's a low spot, a dip, you can't see, then turn it on its side and you can see it. Like on this side, y'all see how I got that dip right there. But you just use that and you'll file that down, you hold it level. Yeah, this is by no means his demeanor at all. Yeah. It's just he knows he's got the power on us, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have, like, once you start, you have the day, like you?
As long as you get it done, yeah, I wouldn't go no more than a day. If you start the left and they start acting like this, something came up, they got spooked or whatever. Okay. By the day's time, yes, go ahead and do the other one. And I mean, there's techniques and ways that you can force them to let you do it. It's a pain and a lot longer. Well,
that's not painful.
They have straps to strap their hoofs together so they can do all that. Yeah. You can tie the lead. You can tie a lead to his hoof.
Yeah, when they don't want to have it, just give them a break.
Truth be told, everybody swarming around him ain't helping.
Stressing.
Ain't helping him at all neither.
Give them a break and then come back. Just like us when we're working on something, if we get mad and we keep messing with it, we're going to break it.
I'm going to throw it, kick it, whatever it is.
Thank you, Thomas.
Absolutely.
Great job, buddy.